How y'all folks doing? Welcome to the cable company. This is my NASA. I want to dedicate this to all the Rocketeers, Bob and Tony Revels. They're contributing to the Apollo mission. And my girl, Lisa. This is all about Lisa. Lisa was an organ donor and she didn't want to be. Lisa's grandbaby law. Let's sign it into law. Let's get it out there. Let the people fix it. Where it's, language is good, all of it through. Let's make it go through the judge. That judge in California, he saved that little girl's life because they'd have killed her off, and the family fought hard for 3 long years. Poor doctor said she's dead. Judge took her off that mess and went with the family, took her off that mess, and this is out in California. I've been trying to write that. Every time I think about it, I forget. But I like to have that. I wish I could get that girl's information and put it on here. But it's in the news because I heard it. Okay, this is a fact sheet. We were going over. People want to know about what I mean when I say fact sheet. Well, this is what I mean when I say it doesn't hear like this is a three pages. Okay, it's stapled together, and it's you can see. You can smell it. It has like an old age smell to it. January 1972, Kennedy Space Center, Florida. 32899, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This is the Space Shuttle, okay? What is the Space Shuttle? The Space Shuttle will be the first reusable space vehicle. It will consist of 2 stages, a booster and an orbiter. It will take off like a rocket, fly in orbit like a spaceship, and land like an airplane. What will the shuttle look like? The orbiter will have a delta wing and will look very much like a modern airplane. It will be powered by 3 high-pressured oxygen-hydrogen engines. Propellants for these engines will be carried in an external jettisonable tank. 2 different kinds of boosters are still under consideration. The first uses liquid propellants, pressure-fed engines, and is recoverable. The second uses solid rocket motors. One of these 2 booster options will be selected within the next several weeks. What are the dimensions of the orbiter and booster? The overall length of the booster is approximately 53 meters, which is 175 feet, or about 17 stories high. The orbiter is about the size of a DC-9. It measures more than 36.5 meters, that's 120 feet, in length, and has a wingspan of 22.9 meters, which is 75 feet. Fully fueled and ready for launch, the shuttle will weigh approximately 2132 metric tons. Excuse me, that's 4.7 million pounds on the launch pad. The dimensions described above are subject to modification upon completion of the contractor studies and analysis of their recommendations. What are the dimensions of the orbiter's passenger compartment cargo area? The orbiter will have a large payload, 4.3 to 4.7 meters, which is 14 to 15 feet in diameter, and 13.7 to 18 meters, that's 45 to 60 feet in length. Hatches on top of the compartment will open wide in orbit to facilitate unloading and deployment of large spacecraft. How will the shuttle operate? The booster and orbiter stages will be joined for launch, with the orbiter in piggyback position. At altitude, the 2 stages will separate and the orbiter's engine will fire to carry it into orbit around the Earth. What functions will the shuttle perform? The multiple-purpose shuttle will replace almost all present expendable launch vehicles. It will be used to carry into space virtually all of this nation's payload, scientific and applications, manned and unmanned, civilian and military. It will also accommodate the future needs of commercial users, other government agencies, and foreign governments. In the future, it will be used to ferry passengers and freight between Earth and orbiting space laboratories. If necessary, the shuttle will also be available for rescue missions in space. How long will the orbiter be able to remain in orbit? Anywhere from a week to a maximum of 30 days, depending on mission requirements. When its mission is completed, its two-man crew will pilot the orbiter back to Earth for an airplane-type landing at the takeoff point or another landing field. When will the shuttle be operational? The system is expected to take 6 years to develop. It should be operational by the end of this decade. What is the first mission plan for the shuttle? There will be many mission requirements waiting for the shuttle when it's built, ranging from the deployment of weather and communication satellites to the retrieval of automated spacecraft now in orbit. What NASA centers will be involved with shuttle work? The Manned Spacecraft Center has been designated to lead center with program management responsibility, overall engineering and systems integration, and ballistic performance requirements for the shuttle. Houston will also be responsible for the orbiter stage of the shuttle. Marshall Space Flight Center has been given responsibility for the booster stage and the space shuttle main engine. Kennedy Space Center will be responsible for design of launch and recovery facilities. As in the Apollo program, all other NASA centers will contribute by providing technical know-how and support. How much will it cost to develop the shuttle? Development costs are estimated at $5.5 billion in current dollars. Over a 6-year period, this is about one-fourth the cost of the Apollo program. Where there will be cost overruns or growth above this, the refined cost estimating techniques used in detailed design studies indicate that the job will be completed within the estimated cost figure. But because of the highly complex technical nature of the project, a contingency of 20% above the $5.5 billion figure was included for future planning purposes. Are there any other fixed costs? Yes. The development costs include all research, development, and tests, and evaluations expenses, as well as 2 flight test vehicles. In addition, development and initial operational facilities will cost about $300 million each. Added an orbiter, $250 million, and each added booster, $50 million. How much will it cost to fly the shuttle? Less than $10 million per flight. Far less than the other space vehicles with an equivalent payload capacity. By how much will the shuttle reduce space costs? It is estimated that the reusable space shuttle will reduce the cost per pound of putting a payload into space from between 600 and 700 at present to 100. By comparison, the first U.S. satellite Explorer 1, which weighed only 30 pounds, represented a payload delivery cost of $100,000 per pound. In addition to the direct savings available with reusable shuttle, significant additional economics will be achieved through reduction of the number and type of launch vehicles needed to support the nation's space effort, and in the cost of the satellites themselves. With the shuttle, automated satellites can be repaired or serviced in space or returned to Earth for refurbishing and reuse. Moreover, the size and weight carrying capacity of the orbiter will free designers from constraints which make design more difficult and costly. This will make it possible to use relatively inexpensive standard laboratory equipment in place of specially constructed, highly miniaturized equipment, which is expensive to develop and test. In the final analysis, total savings made possible by the shuttle will depend on its frequency of use. How will availability of space shuttle affect future use of space? With the savings in launch costs, payload costs, and payload development time, it is expected that the space shuttle will greatly increase the use of space by government agencies and commercial users, and lead to the discovery of new uses for space. One of the primary reasons for development of the shuttle is to open the use of space for the practical benefit of mankind. With it, we will be better able to survey the Earth's resources, monitor and predict weather, improve worldwide communication, develop improved manufacturing processes, enlarge our knowledge of the Earth and our solar system, and perhaps even harness the sun's energy as a source of pollution-free energy. What is the complement of the space shuttle crew? The orbiter will be piloted by a crew of 2. How many passengers will the shuttle be able to carry? The orbiter will carry 2 passengers in addition to the crew. Provisions can also be made to carry 6 to 12 more, or even more if required, in special modules carried into the payload bay. Who will be able to fly in the shuttle? The interior of the shuttle will be pressurized so that passengers and crew can travel in shirtless comfort without spacesuits. No special flight training would be required for passengers, making it possible to send scientists, doctors, artists, photographers, both men and women, into space. When will NASA issue an RFP for building the vehicle? A source evaluation board will be selected this month, and it is planned to issue requests for proposals in the spring. How long after the RFP is issued will it be before a definitive contract is awarded for Phase CD? NASA present timetable calls for awarding a definitive contract for Phase C-D in the summer of this year. What kind of support has Congress given to the space shuttle? The Congress strongly supported and approved the shuttle proposal presented in NASA's budget for fiscal year 1972, with a clear understanding that development would proceed at completion of the studies underway. And that is the fact sheet for that's for our class that we've already shut down. They've already closed that one down. And this one here is the we got a couple more minutes here. We'll see what we here. We got one here it is, Launch Operations Center. I do know 2. Okay, this is a fact sheet. This one here is the Juno 2 vehicles were developed and all launches were conducted by a team of personnel now associated with the George C. Marshall Space Flight Center. The Juno 2 was basically a Jupiter missile with extended tankage to increase burning time. Other changes included a modified guidance system and addition of upper stages to form a 4-stage vehicle. During the power portion of the first stage flight, pitch and yaw control was accomplished by swiveling the gimbaled rocket engine. The roll was controlled by a movable turbine exhaust nozzle. Specification: length 72 feet, diameter 8 feet by 3/4 feet. Dry weight 10,800 pounds. Thrust 150,000 pounds. Propellants: oxidizer, liquid oxygen, and fuel, RP1. The 3 upper stages of the Juno 2 were covered with a shroud for protection against aerodynamic heating during the powered portion of the first stage flight. The upper stages were clustered solid propellant rockets with 11 rockets placed in a ring formation, making up the second stage. Inserted into the center of the ring was a cluster of 3 rockets making up the 3rd stage. The 4th stage, which at the top of the 3rd stage, consisted of a single rocket with the payload resting on top. This configuration of the shroud upper stages and the payload was set spinning, and after shroud separation, the stages were fired in succession to attain the necessary speed for orbiting the payload. Successful Juno 2 launches include the following: Pioneer 3 on December 6, 1958, Pioneer 4 on March the 3rd, 1959, and the Explorer 567 on October the 13th, 1959. And there you go. That's that right there. Okay. And as always, this is it's mine, and all my declassified information, all the classified been declassified, and you can write to me if you want to. Mitch Larno Sr., 301 Harvard Valley Road, Toccoa, Georgia, 30577. Write me today. Tell me what's on your mind. I'm gonna tell you what's on mine. I guess I'll take a little break now, but I wanted to get some of these. I got a lot of them, and if you're interested in history, then just come on back and see me. But I got some other things I want to show you. I got some artifacts and stuff. I got some more knives and. But wait, the whole goal, just so you know this, don't, cause when I get that law passed, I might just, you may not see me no more. I might just go away, go back in my little hole, but, I'm not I don't care about being no movie star or nothing. I just want to get this law passed, okay? Help me get this law passed, and, Lisa can go on. They done her wrong, okay? They made her organ donor, and they shouldn't have done that. And she's gonna take them down, okay? Hey, that $1 million they got, that was the worst mistake you ever did, was take that $1 million from her and her babies. You're gonna pay that. She's gonna make you pay for that. All right, then. Bye-bye.